Hey there, it's Red. Welcome back to the garden. Today we're going to trim up this butterfly bush that's ran its course for the year. There's a handful of signs on this plant that it's ready to be trimmed. One is that the older, larger leaves are starting to turn yellow and brown and fall off. There's tons of new growth coming out at so many different points throughout the plant. And then also, as you saw at the beginning, all the blooms are spent. The end goal of this pruning is to cut back the plant by about 2/3 and only leave about 3 feet off of the ground. It's hard to tell where the ground is, but where my clippers are right now is about 4 feet from where the actual root ball is. To start off, I'm going to cut off all the branches that I know aren't going to be an essential part of the structure at the very end. A lot of these are the branches that are shooting off horizontally to the sides, any of the ones that are really thin and lanky that have been shooting for the sun all season, and any of the ones that are damaged or diseased. So right here I'm pruning back some of the oldest wood I'll prune back on this whole plant. It's hard to tell in the video, but there's probably a couple dozen different growth points on that I know if it grows throughout the season next year, it just won't look good. So I'm going to get rid of it now and I'm going to bring it down so it's shorter in the front, and then the older branches will gradually get taller as it goes to the middle of the plant, and then again in the back it'll get shorter. By layering the plant like this, you set it up so that way as it grows throughout the season it continues to keep a nice shape. So now I'm going to mimic what I did in the front and do it on the back side here. My loppers just quite weren't sharp enough to get through this branch, and I sat here for probably like 3 minutes in real time just hacking at it to get it down. I could have walked to my truck to get my saw, but I did not want to walk to the front of the property. You can see how thick it was right there. At the end of the whole pruning, I did go back to my truck and got my saw to make a nice clean cut, because if you leave a damaged cut, that's a place that pests and disease can enter the plant a lot more easily. So it's always good to make sure your cuts are nice and clean. So now the main structure of the plant is pretty much cut down to the height that I want it to be, so I'm just kind of cleaning up some more of these horizontal branches, these leggy branches, and just getting rid of them. It's always important to make sure the limbs don't fall over to the neighbor's yard, because then you gotta knock on their door and ask them if you can go back there and clean up the mess that you made. No one's got time for that. So you might look at this and think, wow, I'm done. But there's actually a lot more that can be done in here. We're going to clean up that inside structure even more. So for this, I'm going to switch over to my clippers and start minimizing the number of branches that are on the inside structure of this. I'm going to leave the larger, really thick wood that you see there for the most part. I'm going to get rid of the smallest pieces of branches that are coming up from the bottom, and then I'm also gonna get rid of about half of all the other stuff in the middle, so that way as it grows through the season it doesn't become this big jumbled mess in the middle. It'll give the plant more airflow, it'll help prevent diseases, and it'll help the butterflies to get in there and get to the flowers. So you can see now that there's a couple inches in between each branch. You can see through the plant, all the dead wood is gone, it's ready to go for next season. Here's a quick little reminder of what it looked like at the beginning and what it looks like at the end here. I hope this video helps you tackle some pruning in your yard. Feel free to ask any questions down in the comments below.